deadline is rapidly approaching. The White House says by Saturday, the wildly popular video platform from Chinese parent company ByteDance must be sold to a U.S. entity or the app faces a total ban in the United States. The cacophony of companies suddenly shouting their bids for TikTok. So Oracle was in for a while, but Amazon in the past couple of days reportedly, and now AppLovin. You can add the founder of OnlyFans, Tim Stokely, to that list. Apparently he wants in here. They will have to go up against my next guest, a billionaire entrepreneur, Frank McCourt Jr., the former owner of the LA Dodgers and founder of Project Liberty, who has a $20 billion, is it still $20 billion
yes, it
pitch?
is.
And the Trump administration knows about it. And what are your odds now that a big, deep-pocketed company like Amazon might be throwing in their interest?
Well, I still like our chances. And I say that, Liz, simply because I think we're the only ones that actually meet the letter and spirit of the law. You know, this is, the law is clear. If TikTok is to be sold, not shut down, the buyer has to completely disentangle the technology from the Chinese technology. You can't, you kind of can't end run that. The algorithm can't stay in China and the source somewhere else. It's the source code somewhere else. You need to completely separate the U.S. TikTok from Chinese technology. I think we're the only ones that can do that. So I like our chances.
Like or love?
Like, because I think we're not at the final chapter yet. I think we're going to go through, I think we're going to hear some other possibilities, some other combines and so forth, because a lot of people would prefer to find a way to use that algorithm because of the power of that algorithm. And the whole point of the legislation is that the power of that algorithm is actually harming Americans, and it's a national security risk.
Just to be clear to our viewers, the argument is it amplifies sometimes very divisive discussions, which the Chinese love to see here in America. They love to see dividing Americans on all kinds of issues.
True, but it's even worse. So it's not just the divisive, their ability to divide and polarize. It's their ability to manipulate. So it's one thing for China to have the information on 170 million Americans. Okay, not a good thing. It's far worse for China to have the ability to manipulate how 170 million Americans think about issues, for instance, favorable to China or unfavorable to the U.S. It's a propaganda tool. It's a national security risk. That's why the legislation was passed in the first instance, by the way, by a broad bipartisan vote.
I just want to point out to the markets right now and our viewers, the warning lights are flashing a little bit more brightly right now. Bright red for the markets. We are hitting new lows on the Dow Jones Industrials, down 1,625. S&P down 266 points. NASDAQ down 1,029. Russell's just getting slammed here, down 131 points or 6.5%. The transports, the worst of them, down 9.25%. Frank, you have added somebody to your group. We know that Kevin O'Leary, our good friend from this show, has joined you. That was several months ago. But Alex Ohanian, the founder of Reddit, he's in with you. Would you at any point between now and Saturday sweeten your $20 billion bid? I
don't think it's a matter of price here. I think it really is, because we still don't know what ByteDance is selling. Mm-hmm. That's another next chapter.
If ByteDance is selling.
Exactly right. So we're having a partial conversation now, which is what would an American consortium look like to buy whatever ByteDance is selling if they decide to sell. So again, it's still early in this process. I think Alexis has been a great addition to our group. I mean, he's very high signal, very, very credible man when it comes to social media, and understands that people should own and control their identity, their data, their relationships, which is why he's particularly interested in our technology. Yeah,
so there have been reports, and Charlie Gasparino has gotten sources to tell him this, that under President Trump's proposal, TikTok would be owned roughly 50% by new U.S. investors and license or lease the algorithm, which you've talked about, which is controversial, from ByteDance, and that existing ByteDance investors would have roughly a 1/3 stake in the new company. ByteDance would receive a 19.9% stake. That is not what the law passed by Congress allows. Am I correct?
Well, that's correct. I mean, the Congress is looking for a complete separation, complete, 100%. I think the 19.9% equity interest is less important than the issue of the algorithm and their continued control and access to that algorithm, because that is That's really the back end here is the issue. And that's why we entered this process to begin with. Project Liberty really has built a clean, made in America, bottom-up tech stack. We don't need or want the algorithm, and this is a way to save TikTok. By the way, Liz, there are huge fines here in this legislation that anybody who doesn't live up to the spirit and the letter of that law is exposing themselves to. These are massive, massive fines embedded in that legislation for a reason, to make sure that the law was abided by and to.
Well, it sounds like you guys are the ones who are ready to just adhere to that. Saturday's coming. I'm going to be bugging you on the phone on Saturday, Frank.
Look forward to speaking.
Thank you very much, Frank McCord.